Hello, everyone, and welcome to SFDC Sessions. This is our last episode of the year, and while we are so thrilled to say goodbye to 2020, we wanted to end the year on an inspiring note. So we are thrilled today to focus on philanthropy and giving back. Please welcome our two guests, Katie Story, who is the founder of Story Design, as well as the new Good Future Design Alliance. Now, the Gfda is based at the San Francisco Design Center and is an alliance of design and build professionals on a mission to reduce waste in our industry by 50% over the next 5 years. So we're thrilled to welcome Katie and this amazing organization to the SFDC. Please also welcome designer Kelly Finley, who is the founder of Joy Street Studios, an interiors firm based in Oakland, and who has also started a philanthropic arm of her organization called Joy Street Initiative. Now, Joy Street assists Bay Area nonprofit organizations that support housing and advocacy assistance for individuals coming from situations of hardship or trauma. Now, as we close out this year, we just wanted to take a moment to thank you so much for joining us in this space of education, exploration, and activation. And on that note, we would like to dedicate this episode to someone who absolutely epitomizes giving back. Rhonda Harada, the Vice President of Marketing for the San Francisco Design Center, who is retiring as of this week. And as we all know, Rhonda is a beloved member of our community and someone who over the past 13 years has been an indefatigable and a passionate supporter of community causes, of women, and for organizations that support the underserved. We can't ever forget her work on Ronald McDonald House, bringing together nearly 50 firms to design the interiors for the new 52,000 square foot Ronald McDonald House space in Stanford, and so many other initiatives. So Rhonda, we will try and carry on your legacy of taking care of each other and always giving back through design, and wish you well in your next phase of life. Thank you, and we will see you all in January. Take good care. So Katie, maybe start with you and the story of the Good Future Design Alliance, which you have invested so much time and research and care into creating, and now which is, we're so thrilled, based at the San Francisco Design Center. Would you share the origin story and the mission of the GFDA?
Sure, yeah. Thank you again for having me. So the Good Future Design Alliance really sprung out of my practice as an interior designer. For years, I've had a firm here in San Francisco. We would do many projects a year, a couple hundred square feet in total, collectively through all the projects. Then a couple years ago, I was downtown at a commercial install, about 20,000 square feet. And I looked around and we were installing, making it cute, doing what designers do. But instead of being able to focus on the beautiful furniture and the lovely plants and stuff that we got, all I could see were stacks of 8-foot high plastic, 12-foot high cardboard, 16-foot square feet of styrofoam, believe it or not. And that was kind of like the breaking point. I remember it so vividly, where I literally stopped working and I told my team, we're going to lunch, we're going to get out of this environment and redirect how we operate. So I committed to changing the way I practice and started researching who was doing what. There's certainly LEED, which is energy efficiency. There's B Corp, which is incredible on many levels, we'll just say. There's US Green Business Council, all of these things that are really wonderful, but there's not one organization committed to waste. That includes all of the sectors of the design and build industry. So I felt really strongly that it needed to be interior designers, architects, general contractors, landscape designers, and makers, like the makers of this furniture. And the reason I felt that way is because every day, as Kelly, we're in conversation together. So I call the architect, who calls the builder, who calls the landscaper, etc. And so it wasn't enough for me or my firm or even 100 interior designers to get on board with reducing waste. We needed to get the whole industry, design and build industry, involved.
And you shared a really astonishing statistic, which was that, is it 30% of the landfill in San Francisco is from construction, design and construction?
Yes, and to your point, yes, we learned that 30% of the landfill in San Francisco alone is from our industry. And every year in the US, 12.2 million tons of furniture end up in the landfill.
And you've distilled all of that research and learning into a goal that you've set for the members of the organization, which I believe is the goal of reducing waste by 50% over 5 years. So can you tell us how the platform works?
For sure, yeah.
How designers who are watching can take part and get involved?
Yeah, happy to. So we have created an alliance. That's why it's called the Good Future Design Alliance. So it's an alliance where any individual or firm, whether you're an architect, landscape designer, contractor, etc., you can join. You can make a commitment to reduce your waste by 50% over 5 years and pay your annual due, whatever. In exchange for that membership, you will receive a toolkit and tons of resources that we are developing. We already developed a bunch, but we are developing a whole bunch more to consistently stay current and roll things out. So you get a whole list of resources on how to reach your goal. And then we check in regularly. So if you're struggling in one area and can't figure out how to do better, we will tailor the toolkit to help you. And we'll bring in specialists and we'll come on site and help you. So yeah, that's kind of the breakdown. It's you can make a commitment, whether you're small or a big firm, it doesn't matter. We welcome anyone at any stage of this journey to join us. And we are, I should say, we're just in our first year, right? We have about 80 firms in the San Francisco area already on board, and we have plans to be scaling nationally next year. So we're here for the long haul.
Yes, exactly. You stated that your goal obviously is to build a national alliance, a national coalition of all of those sectors of the design industry so that you can make a significant impact with this. And one of the things that I thought was really mindful was you have a scaled fee. Mm-hmm. Based on the size of the firm and how they're able to financially participate. And it's I've looked at the numbers, it's very accessible, which is encouraging because then I know, as you've both experienced, sometimes when there's a smaller firm, they very much want to give back and participate philanthropically, but might feel like they don't have the resources or the financial resources or the staff yet to do something like that. So again, Katie, would you mind sharing, obviously there's the sliding scale membership fee, and there are a number of ways to participate via the showroom in San Francisco. Would you share what those are?
Yeah, so we intentionally, to your point of the fees, yes, we intentionally kept them approachable because we want people to feel welcome. We want people to feel like this is accessible. And then most recently, which I'm super excited about, we opened a marketplace, which is just incredible. I kind of had this vision from the start of having a way for the design community to buy and sell essentially, but transfer furniture and accessories between each other, because we all know that we've made mistakes. You purchase something and it's slightly the wrong color, or you wait too long to open it because you're still in construction and then it's too late to return it. We have like a million scenarios where this has happened to us. So instead of just holding on to this piece and putting it in your own personal storage unit, why not try and sell it and filter it through to somebody else who might want it? So the point of this is it's not, it's all designer vetted furniture. It's stuff that we would buy for ourselves or our clients, but we made some kind of mistake, and so we have extra. So that's really what the market.
Maybe it was the client's fault.
Or the client's fault, right? Yes. Whoever, or maybe it wasn't even a mistake.
Their mind, yeah, right, exactly.
Yeah.
I'm sorry to interrupt you, but may I ask you, so the two ways that the designers can participate is the consignment pieces, right, where they can bring in the items that they don't need for their project. Mm-hmm. And then can you share how those are sold on the platform? And then the other one is donation, correct?
Exactly. Yeah. So just to clarify, so we opened a consignment shop in the design center. It's the Gfda marketplace, where anyone, whether you're a member or not, the consignment rates are different. if you're a member versus not. But anyone is welcome to buy or sell through the marketplace. Think of it as like a high-end consignment shop.
And is there an online component to that, or is it?
Yeah, we're building that out right now. Yes. And then if after a certain amount of time, your item does not sell and you don't want to pick it up for any number of reasons and you want to donate it, we, in our same location, we partnered with Make It Home Bay Area. And so you can just donate it right there. You don't even have to come back and pick it up. So the beauty of this is that it's like a one-stop shop to buy, sell, or donate.
Right. And Make It Home, is that where do they then take the goods? Are they contributing to particular organizations?
Exactly, yes. So then Make It Home will distribute furniture to various organizations that need it. You know, they partner with like Grateful Gatherings and other organizations, Furniture Bank throughout the Bay Area, to distribute furniture where needed. And already in the first month of us being in the design center location, we have been able to donate, I think we're on our 5th house right now.
Oh, that's...
So in 1 month, we've already gotten tons of consignment for sure. But then the stuff that's not quite consignable goes to donation. And we sent out the 4th house last week. So we're on our 5th. It's just amazing. Like this community, what we're finding is there is so much good happening. Like people have so much, and we realize that luxury and that privilege. And then we're really like, we put the call out and people are just responding in really beautiful ways.
Well, as you said, it's your first year and you already have 80 plus members. And we are so excited to be working with you and to moving forward. And anyone who wants to learn more can go to the Gfda.com, thegfda.com. Yeah, and check out all of the membership benefits. You've got an incredible toolkit, as you shared, that has sustainable vendor lists with direct contacts, redistribution lists, waste-friendly project checklists. So it's really a turnkey way to get started and to bring this into a designer's practice. Yeah, beautiful, thank you. And Kelly, thank you. Usually we have a much more integrated conversation, but today each of you have such phenomenal projects. I really do want to talk to you in depth about each of them, so thank you for your patience. So Kelly, you obviously have your own interior design practice based in Oakland, and you've actually started a formal extension of that called Joy Street Initiative, which is your philanthropic arm. Would you tell us a little bit about the story behind that and your mission?
Yeah, so I started Joy Street Initiative in 2019 as a formal 501c3 nonprofit with the goal to provide the same services we provide to our clients to people who are coming out of poverty and living in women's shelters. So ultimately, when I started Joy Street Design almost 9 years ago, I always knew there would be some component of a nonprofit, just because in every job I've ever had, I try to use the skills that I have. This is like my 3rd career, so but I try to use the skills.
An attorney, correct?
I was an attorney, yeah. And then I was a nonprofit fundraiser for a little bit too. So, so I always try to use the skills that I have to give back in that way. And so when I first started or moved to Oakland, I just started doing some projects. You know, if my alumni network, so if Stanford reached out and they're like, hey, this is, I can't remember what they call it, Stanford Gives Day, I would volunteer for a project, find someone, and then they would send volunteers. And it would be 10 people going into, you know, a women's shelter, painting the dining room and leaving. And so we did a couple of those. We did one at Ruby's Place, which is, I think, down in Hayward maybe, or San Leandro. But it's a shelter for victims of domestic violence. We completely renovated or updated their dining room, their dining space and kitchen area. And what we were doing is I was using some of the funds from, you know, the design firm, but it was really just the volunteers. And so that was fine. And it was, you know, working great. But then we did one project at another location with another alumni network. And the people that were sent out had never painted in their life. So like, it just turned into almost a comical, like,
right,
hot mess in the
Right.
grand scheme of things.
Great intentions, but maybe not the fit for their skill set.
Yeah. Exactly. And what ended up happening is at the end of that, we thanked everybody for coming out. I looked around, I was like, there's no way I can leave this space the way this is. And so I sent like our painters that we always use in and paid them to come and fix it because it's just the way that we want it. And that kind of set off an idea in my mind that I want to provide these services in a dignified way so that people don't feel like they just have to take whatever. It reminded me of like, sometimes you take something to the Goodwill or the Salvation Army and they don't want it. And you're like, what? Like, I'm trying to give this to you. And you're like, then you look at it, you're like, oh, it is crap, right? You're right. And so I really took a step back and we refocused our efforts on really trying to be purposeful and providing the same level of care and services that we would to a paying client. And from that was kind of where we really honed in on our goals. And we started a relationship with Oakland Elizabeth House, which is a transitional women's shelter that they essentially have women and children who come from either shelter or poverty, just living in their car, and they get to live there for, I think, up to 18 months or maybe 2 years. And we started a process with them where every time someone moved out, we would redo their room for them. So we would come in and strip the room down to, bare bones, because they're housed in a former nunnery that has not been really, cared for over the years. And we put in new furniture, we put in new curtains, new just paint, new light fixtures, all of that. And we completely make over the rooms. And so we've done a couple of those now. We've redone their music room. And it's been a really rewarding partnership that we are continuing I think we have a 2-year partnership right now where we will do this until then and try the goal to give them a brand new kitchen next year.
Right, that's
which
your
is
next
obviously
kitchen,
daunting,
isn't it? Yes.
Yes.
Renovate and recreate their kitchen.
Yes, because they have like 3 kitchens and like 8 refrigerators, and like it makes 0 sense. So like right now, our normal architect is donating his time, and he's drawing up the plans, and we're reaching out to people to get donations. But we still have to, we're fundraising a little bit, but ultimately all of the money for Joy Street Initiative comes from Joy Street Design. We get 10% of our profits to the nonprofit. So for the last year and a half, everything has been going. I mean, we've been covering all of those costs, but we recognize that with the size of a kitchen renovation that we would be doing that for a couple of years before we get to it. So we're going to start a little bit of a fundraising part of the business that we haven't done, which is interesting.
Yes, and hopefully some of the community that's watching today might be able to take part in that. Anyone that wants to learn more about the work can go to joystreetinitiative.org. And Kelly, if I may, you made the most beautiful statement about the work that you're doing with the project. If you don't mind, I'd love to share a little bit of that. You said, quote, "We believe restoring dignity and ownership in your living space is extremely important, especially when transitioning out of hardship or trauma. We believe beautiful spaces support positive attitude and motivate us towards healing." An incredible mission statement, and something that I think the entire community, especially now, I imagine you both would agree, is hoping they can participate in creating that kind of atmosphere, that kind of healing. So thank you for that work. Yeah.
Yes, and one of the things that really got me, and like when the first time we did it, is that, this is a shelter, like for the Elizabeth House, it's a shelter for women and children. And some of these, children have never had their own bed, and they get to come in and they see a bed, with who's a Sesame Street or whoever, whatever bedding we were able to find. And they know that this is theirs. And we've gotten like positive feedback from the caseworkers at Elizabeth House that the women who come in and have had our bedrooms have kind of like let their guards down faster. They get more into the program. They seem to just be on top of it more so than when they come in, and I'm sure Elizabeth House was doing the best they could with before we came in, but it's just a certain level of care that really comes through when they're getting a room that we literally designed, right? It's not just a hodgepodge of stuff. And so it's really nice for them. And in fairness, kind of what you're saying, Katie, we do, with the music room, the sofa that we end up using in there was a mistake, but it was brand new. And so we tried to only use new or, lightly, very lightly or damaged product. Like we had a vendor who kept sending the same sideboard and it had a scratch on the back. And they sent it to us 3 times. And then we're like, can we give it back to you? And they're like, no, we don't want it. Just dispose of it. So then we were able to use that because there's nothing really wrong with it, but the client, right, will be a little bit more concerned. So we are able to, we're trying to find that balance where we accept donations of new or very lightly used things, but at the same time recognizing that what we're trying to provide is more of a holistic approach and not really, take everything that we can get.
So thank you for that work, Kelly. It's really incredibly moving and inspiring that you've, again, like you, Katie, invested the time and the research beyond the call of your regular practice. We're going to talk now about the fact that you have your own firms that you're running at the same time to make such a huge impact in the community. So, as we were saying, you both have boutique-sized firms, but have still managed to dedicate so much of your time to these causes. And again, emerging designers may want to do something as well, be philanthropic to give back, but may not feel like they have the resources to do that. Could you share a few ways that they might be able to take action? Katie, would you mind starting?
Sure. Yeah, I think there are so many ways. It's a really good point. You oftentimes think like you have to be really established, have tons of extra income or funds to be philanthropic, but I don't think that's the case. I think you can starting off, you can just align your firm and your practice, like the language even on your website, to how you want to operate in the world and to the causes that you believe in, whatever that is. There are a million causes that are worthy of supporting right now. So figure out what that is, put a value statement on your website. That's very easy, but goes a long way. I think clients are really looking for companies that they align with. Certainly the design has to live up, but it's such a personal industry, and it's all about relationships. So if you find somebody or a team that reflects your values, you're probably going to hit it off better and have more of a successful project.
Thank you so much. And I love what you said about sort of alignment of values and making that a very conscious part of the design process, right? So we had a conversation with a designer a few weeks ago in which we discussed the fact that many homeowners now want to understand the stories and the makers behind everything they're putting in their homes, right? So they may want to look at beginning to collect art that reflects social justice. They may want to collect pieces or bring pieces into their home that are made only locally to reduce their carbon footprint. So as you said, the values part of creating your home needs to feel authentic and aligned, right? And I love, right, I would imagine you do as well, that it's becoming such a more visible part of the conversation, more getting more traction. Yeah.
For sure. Yeah.
And Kelly, would you mind sharing you had some great ideas too about how designers could get involved?
I think, very similar to what Katie's saying, I think volunteering your time is a huge one. I think people really underestimate what skills they have that can be volunteered. We get people reaching out to volunteer, and they just think they want to design a room. And if we don't necessarily need that skill set, right? Because one, we already have it, or we don't have a room ready for right now. But we've recently been responding we don't have that skill set. We don't need that right now. However, we need people to write to cabinet companies to see if they'll donate to kitchen, and so there are ways to do it. So I think don't underestimate what your skill set can be. I also think reaching out to individual small nonprofits, not so much like one that's already established like ours, but maybe reaching out to like an Elizabeth House or Ruby, like something down the street that may just need your help. You have a skill set of design that you could potentially really help them, even if it's just in a consulting way, right? I think that just really be open to the types of ways you can help. I also think just going a little bit deeper into that, like social media now is so big, right? Like be a strong advocate, be online. If you feel very strongly about like the homelessness population in the Bay Area, or put up a square, do all the things that make it clear what you stand for. And then when you have the money, right, and then when you have the clout or whatever, you can use it. But I'm going to guess your social media following gives you some of that clout, and it's important, and you can use that in a way that is really transformative without you not having the resources that you think you don't have.
Kelly, that's so astute. Yes, be an advocate, right? Take part in the fabric of the community, mutually support and connect through social media. That's such a brilliant idea. And, to both of your points, as you're saying, designers and architects and landscape designers have they're so multidisciplinary. They have such an intertextuality of skills, right? So like you said, it could be going in and consulting with a company about perhaps their marketing or their executive function or organization. There are lots of ways you can, bring your body of knowledge to an organization. So that's a brilliant way of looking at it.
One of our first projects for Elizabeth House was going into their admin space where they kept all the supplies and just fixing it. It didn't cost us $1. We didn't paint. We didn't do anything except it was like, they get donations of toiletries, and they didn't know how many it was literally like 3 hours, and it completely changed the way they were able to use the space. We didn't buy one thing. And you think about it that way, there are just so many ways that you probably don't even know that if you talk to somebody, they may allow, give you some ideas.
Yeah, just helping to coordinate their resources or create a better flow in their workspace is hugely impactful, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And Kelly, do you mind, I'm so excited about a project that you are now working on. You are a member of the Black Artists and Designers Guild, which is a nonprofit global collective independent designers, artists, and makers founded 2 years ago in 2018, whose mission is to build a more equitable and inclusive creative culture. And you are, in fact, the only member in the Bay Area. And we're so excited that you, along with Hearst and Elle Decor and the Black Artists and Designers Guild, are going to be presenting Obsidian House, which is a new virtual show house based in Oakland, which is really going to be a platform for all kinds of incredible advocacy and design brilliance. So would you share a little bit more about this phenomenal project?
Yes, this is the Black Artists and Designers Guild was started by Mulaney Barnett in New York, and it is just a collection. I want to say it's at least 100 plus now of designers, makers, artists from all over the country. I mean, all over the world. I think most of them are focused in the U.S. And once the pandemic started, we started hosting weekly chats just so we could all be connected. And this idea came from that. Like we were just saying, like, oh, what else can't we do? There are going to be no show houses. Like, it really just came from that. And so for the last 6 months, we've been working really hard behind the scenes to create this gorgeous house designed by 2 architects in the guild that's based in the Oakland Hills, and it has like expansive views of the city, and it has these amazing lands. It's based on an actual site in Oakland that we don't identify, but and it has like a gorgeous pool, and it's just going to be this over the top amazing exploration of home for the future, because it's based in 2025 for a multi-generational Black family. And it's 22 members. They were all announced, I think, yesterday. And we are so lucky that Hearst is our main sponsor, their luxury collection, and that's Elle Decor and House Beautiful, Think Town and Country, I'm forgetting one other one, Veranda. And so they are really helping us with the sponsors. We have some great people participating, and it's just really to be something really exciting. The reason we put it in the Bay, or the reason we decided the first location should be in the Bay, was primarily the futuristic aspect of it. Obviously, this is home and technology, where there are going to be a lot of things that don't exist in there that we are envisioning that should exist. Oh, cool. But also just the strong cultural reference of Oakland and the Black Panther Party, and really, having that foundation to do that in Oakland was just amazing. So I'm super excited. I can't wait. I think it comes out in January 2021. So It should be really fun. Yeah.
Yes, we're so excited and proud of you here. And whomever's watching that would like to learn more can go to badguild.info right, Kelly?
Yes, and everything should be on there.
And there's a wonderful conversation on there between Assad Serket, the new editor-in-chief of Elle Decor, and the two principal architects. That's so inspiring, and talking about health and wellness and in the home. It's definitely something everyone should check out. Well, it's incredibly inspiring to see that you both have made the Bay Area your home base, but are working so hard with such dedication, right, to achieve a national presence and to create more opportunity for giving and philanthropy with your work as the platform and with the organizations that you've started as your platforms. So thank you so much for that, and being for such role models and mentors for the community. So we will share again all of the information, in the blasts that go out around this, so that people can learn more and get involved. And good luck, and thank you again.
All right. Thank you so much for having us.
Yeah. This is really nice. Thank you very much.